Alright, this is just a test video of something I'm thinking about doing. And right now you can't see because it's nighttime and I'm in my car because I do not live alone. So let me know if that makes my videos or this video unwatchable. Maybe in the future I'll try to figure something else out, but in the meantime, this is what it is. So anyway, I just kind of want to start by saying, I read that they raised the federal smoking age to 21, which I think is hilarious because it shows that the system isn't broken and that Congress or whoever, they can get shit done that they want to get done. And so, you know, they can't agree on shit like healthcare or, raising the minimum wage or feeding people or housing people. They can't agree on any of that, but they can agree on people under adults over 18 apparently not being adult enough to be able to smoke cigarettes, even though at 18 they're basically financially responsible for themselves. They can join the military, they can go into debt, they can take out loans, go to college, all kinds of shit like that, that they immediately become responsible, but for some reason they can't smoke. And this is like a thing to make it look like they're doing something when they're not. It basically caters to rich, snotty, upper class or middle class people who don't really have any real problems and feel like they should decide that somebody else shouldn't be able to smoke because they're too young or whatever. It's some moralizing bullshit, and really, it doesn't do anything to help poor people. And in fact, it fucks them over a little bit because they when I was a kid or a teenager and we'd have somebody go to the store and buy cigarettes and stuff, we'd have to pay more, and or also we'd have to basically fight anybody who would try to run off with our shit because they thought if we were teenagers we weren't going to do anything, and that's a damn lie. So basically, it doesn't stop anybody from smoking. It just makes it harder, and then makes them more able to be exploited, or ripped off or taken advantage of in some form. And it doesn't really make any sense to do this. It's not something people have been clamoring for. And so it makes it look like that Congress actually does something when it doesn't. When it does listen to people, this is the kind of shit it does. And it's not a lot of people. And it's nothing people need. So, and that's another thing that bothers me when people say the system is broken. The system is not broken. It does exactly what it means to do. Just because it doesn't do what you want it to do doesn't mean it's broken. It was never intended that way. It was never meant to do the things that they told us, and they continue to teach us to this day that it's supposed to do these things. And politicians are public servants. They're not. Politicians are public relations department for corporations and capitalist interests. And so basically, acknowledging this lets us understand that this government does not work for our interests, and it only works for the interests of the rich. And it's never going to listen to us. We don't hold it accountable. Um, and so, yeah, understanding that is a huge step in understanding what we need to do from this point on. Basically, continuing to appeal to the morality of a system that does not have morality, a capitalist system that necessitates poverty. Um, it runs on racism to justify the exploitation that happens. Because what that does is racism basically excuses the mass exploitation and theft of labor from anything from slavery and genocide to basically systemically pushing non-white people out of the economy, basically. And then what they do, the media and racism basically dictates that the reason that these things happen are the problems of individuals. This is a form of liberalism. These are not individual issues. These are not something that happens because of poor choices or poor education. No. This is something that is systemic, and it's something that capitalism requires in order to make more money. Because capitalism is a it's a system of parasites, basically. And they leech off the working class, and they teach the middle class to hate the lower class, and to act like the upper class when they're not. So anyway, I'm going to end it here. So I'm not really saying nothing. I'm going all over the place, and so I'm going to listen to suggestions and see what kind of feedback I can get, and then go from there. Thanks for watching.